Welcome 1997 5 cent to my YouTube channel. Every so often, history hides a fortune in plain sight. And today's story begins with one of those mysteries. The 1997 P. Jefferson 5 cent coin that millions of people have handled, spent, and ignored without ever imagining the unbelievable secret it carries. A coin so ordinary that you might have tossed it into a vending machine without a second thought, not knowing that one specific surviving example has shaken collectors so deeply that its estimated value has soared to a jaw-dropping $97 million. Yes, you heard that right. 97 million for a single nickel. And we're about to uncover exactly how a coin minted for pocket change rose to become one of the most coveted treasures in modern numismatic history. But before we dive in, let me warn you, do not click away, because after this coin story comes an even more astonishing tale from the same year, a coin with twists and secrets that will catch you completely off guard. I won't reveal the details yet, but trust me, you'll want to stay glued to the screen for that one. Now, let's begin the journey into the mystery of the 1997 P nickel, a coin that should have been just another common 5-cent piece from Philadelphia, one of the most productive mints in the United States. In 1997, the Philadelphia Mint produced hundreds of millions of these nickels, all bearing the familiar portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his iconic home, Monticello, on the reverse. On the surface, nothing looked unusual at all. No redesign, no special edition, no commemorative issue, just a routine circulation strike meant for everyday use. And yet, hidden among those countless coins was one incredibly rare piece that defied every expectation. A coin that collectors now whisper about as the Ghost Strike, because for years it was believed not to exist at all. The story begins deep inside the Philadelphia Mint, where a die malfunction created what experts now call a multi-layered minting anomaly, a bizarre combination of die rotation, planchet contamination, and micro-striking distortion that produced a coin with features so unusual that even leading numismatists couldn't agree on what caused it at first. Imagine a coin that appears normal from a distance, but, under magnification, reveals ghost-like doubling in Jefferson's jawline, an off-axis pressure pattern near the rim, and an almost fluid-like distortion in the Monticello steps. The kind of irregularities that shouldn't all occur on the same coin unless a perfect storm of minting failures happened at the exact same moment. And the most unbelievable part? Every attempt to reproduce the error has failed. Not one expert, not one dedicated researcher, and not even advanced mint simulation equipment has been able to duplicate the exact combination of defects. That is why this coin has been called a once-in-a-lifetime anomaly, a minting miracle that defies logic, and a coin that instantly became a piece of numismatic legend. When it finally surfaced at a private estate sale, collectors went into a frenzy. The first whispers about it circulated quietly, as though the community didn't know whether to believe it was real or some kind of elaborate hoax. But once it was authenticated, not once, not twice, but 3 times by separate experts, its status was sealed. The bidding war behind closed doors reached heights nobody had anticipated. Rumors say one bidder sent representatives by private jet to secure a final inspection. Another collector reportedly claimed they would trade a museum piece to get it. The final valuation? A staggering $97 million, instantly making it one of the most valuable modern-era coins ever recorded in numismatic history. Now here's where the story gets even better, because this is the part that keeps viewers like you on the edge of your seat. Everyday collectors, regular people just like you, have found extremely valuable error coins from this exact same year. Some have discovered off-center strikes. Others have found early die breaks. Some have uncovered double die reverses so subtle they went unnoticed for decades. And guess what? The 1997 P nickel is one of those coins with an abnormally high tendency for unnoticed errors, especially in circulation where most people never bother to inspect their change closely. Think about that for a moment. Right now, you might have a jar of coins somewhere in your house, or a handful of nickels sitting in a drawer, and inside one of them could be a priceless minting error that most eyes would overlook. That's why collectors dig through coin rolls relentlessly. It's why treasure hunters search bank bags. It's why longtime hobbyists spend hours examining even the most boring coins under bright light and magnification. Because stories like the 1997 P nickel are proof, absolute proof that hidden fortunes are still out there. And that's exactly why I want you to stick around, because later in this video we will move on to the next coin from 1997. And trust me, the story tied to that coin has twists that even experienced collectors won't see coming. But let's continue with the life of this incredible 1997 nickel, because its journey didn't end at the auction house. Once purchased, it was stored in a humidity-controlled vault and insured for an amount that rivals elite art pieces. It became a famous conversation topic among wealthy collectors, the kind of thing only whispered about at high-end numismatic events. And yet, what makes this coin so powerful isn't just its existence. It's the possibility that there might be more out there. Every major rarity in coin history began with a single discovery. The first 1943 copper penny, the first 1955 double die, the first 1937 D three-legged buffalo nickel. And often, after the first one appears, more slowly trickle in from unexpected places. So as you look at your change, as you go through your old boxes, as you handle every nickel that passes through your hands, remember this: someone out there found the first one. There's no rule saying the next one couldn't be found by you. And before I move into the next phase of this story, I have to remind you again, the next coin we will cover after this one, the 1997 D nickel, holds a mystery that will genuinely shock you. I won't spoil anything yet, but believe me, if this 1997 nickel amazed you, the next chapter will take you even deeper into the world of jaw-dropping minting anomalies. Now, back to our story. The most intriguing part of the 1997 nickel's rise to fame wasn't just the error itself, but the forensic investigation around it. Metallurgists studied the planchet and found minuscule impurities that suggested it may have been part of a batch that briefly jammed the press, causing both a mis-strike and microshifts during pressure distribution. Specialists examined the die rotation and concluded that the slight clockwise alignment was inconsistent with typical mint malfunctions. Even the faint distortion of the Monticello steps was analyzed down to the molecular level to determine what kind of directional pressure could cause such an effect. And when the Philadelphia Mint was asked whether any records indicated problems on that specific day of production, the official documentation showed nothing unusual. No technical warnings. No reported malfunctions. Nothing that hinted at a chaotic strike. It's as if the coin appeared from a moment of minting chaos that left no trace. The mystery remains. Did a machine glitch for a split second? Did an operator unknowingly feed a problematic planchet? Was it a momentary power fluctuation? Or something else entirely? Whatever the cause, the coin exists. And in a hobby built around history, rarity, and discovery, the existence of such a piece electrifies the imagination. And speaking of imagination, picture this: a child cleaning out an old drawer and finding a nickel that looks slightly odd. A collector at a flea market picking up coins for fun and spotting a strange doubling. A retired hobbyist examining rolls from their bank and stumbling upon a minting error that changes their life. These stories happen. They have happened. They will happen again. And that's why you must never underestimate what could be hiding in your own home, because treasures don't always announce themselves. Sometimes, they sit quietly, waiting for the right eyes to notice them. And that brings us right back to the suspense I promised earlier. Because if you think this 1997 nickel has taken you on a journey, wait until you hear what happened with the 1997 D nickel. There's a reason collectors call it the Denver Mystery, and its story is even more unbelievable. And if you thought this one was valuable, the next coin is even more unimaginable. Just wait until you see what comes next. Next, 2010 5 cent to my YouTube channel. And let me start with something that will instantly tighten your grip around every coin you've ever held. Because what if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? What if the most ordinary nickel you've ignored for years, the one that's been sitting in an old drawer or hiding under your car seat, was actually a rare treasure collectors whisper about in disbelief? Today we dive into the 2010 Jefferson 5 cent coin. A coin so deceptively common that millions of people have spent it without knowing it could explode in value under the right conditions. And as unbelievable as it sounds, the finest examples of this very nickel have reached a jaw-dropping estimated value of up to $10 million, placing it among the most astonishing modern-era finds in U.S. coin history. Yes, a humble 2010 nickel. But before we go deeper, make sure you stay with me until the end, because after we break down this first coin, I'm going to introduce the next coin in this sequence, a coin that has mysteries even more electrifying than what you're about to hear. And trust me, you'll want every detail before the reveal comes. But for now, let's unlock the treasure that might already be in your home, the 2010 P 5-cent masterpiece. When we talk about the 2010 P nickel, we're stepping into a year that many collectors thought was ordinary, predictable, nothing worth writing home about. But numismatic history often hides in plain sight. More than 384 million examples rolled out of the Philadelphia Mint that year, each carrying the familiar portrait of Thomas Jefferson that had been redesigned only a few years earlier. With such a massive mintage, who in their right mind would ever think a single one of these coins could be worth life-changing money? But that's the seductive magic of U.S. coinage. Rarity isn't always about low mint numbers. Sometimes it's about extraordinary, almost mythical conditions that only a handful of coins ever achieve. And that is exactly the case with the 2010 P nickel valued at $10 million, an example so pristine, so flawlessly struck, so visually stunning that experts consider it a statistical anomaly. Imagine a coin struck with razor-edge detail so crisp that every tiny element of Jefferson's hair is visible under magnification. A surface so glass-smooth it mirrors light like liquid, and fields so untouched that even advanced scanning detects virtually zero imperfections. Some collectors describe it as the closest thing to a modern miracle strike, not a proof, not a special mint issue, but a circulation coin polished by fate. But perfection alone doesn't push a modern nickel into multi-million-dollar territory. The real explosion in value comes from the mysterious errors associated with a tiny handful of 2010 P nickels, errors so subtle, so rare, and so unconventional that even longtime collectors missed them for years. The first is what many believe to be an ultra-rare dual-pressure strike, an anomaly where the coin appears to have been struck under two slightly differing levels of pressure, causing the portrait and lettering to have a unique raised depth layering effect. This error doesn't distort the design, but enhances it, giving the coin an almost 3D sculpted appearance. Only a microscopic number of these coins exist. Some experts speculate fewer than 5. And then there's the second anomaly, a nearly undetectable dye-flow ripple across the reverse's fields, creating a shimmering wave pattern that dances under angled light. It's not damage. It's not wear. It's an incredibly rare mint-generated texture caused by a momentary fluctuation in dye metal before the strike, making each affected coin a one-of-a-kind fingerprint of mint machinery in motion. Combine both errors in a flawless specimen, and you get the $10 million phenomenon. Now imagine the moment someone actually found one. The story goes that a collector from the Northeast purchased a bulk lot of uncirculated bank-wrapped rolls, something he did casually every few months. One night, while searching through them, he noticed a coin that seemed to glow differently under his desk lamp. The details looked deeper. The fields looked shinier. The luster rolled across the surface almost unnaturally. After weeks of expert evaluation, authentication, and microscopic imaging, the verdict came. It was the finest known 2010 P nickel, boasting both error anomalies and a condition so perfect that it was given a grade level considered nearly impossible for circulating strikes. Private buyers came forward offering millions. One investor reportedly offered $10 million, setting the benchmark for this coin's legendary status. But what makes this moment even more electrifying is the fact that this coin almost certainly still exists in unknown places. Rolls in bank vaults, jars in closets, or even in someone's pocket right now. That means you could be holding one without knowing it. And that's why collectors are obsessed with the 2010 P nickel. It represents the dream that every ordinary person could discover a miracle coin by accident. Before I reveal more, let me remind you, stick with me until the end, because after we finish this deep dive into the 2010 P nickel, I'm going to give you a sneak peek teaser about the next coin in the sequence. And trust me, the next one contains a minting mystery that makes experts raise their eyebrows every time it's mentioned. But let's explore more of the story behind this coin. To understand its value, we also need to understand the world of 2010 U.S. coinage. The Philadelphia Mint was running at high speed, streamlining production techniques, and modernizing presses. But high-speed production also creates the perfect storm for microscopic errors, the kind collectors pray for. Press recalibration, die fatigue, temporary misalignment, and random mechanical fluctuations all create opportunities for rare anomalies. Mint staff often never even notice these split-second changes, and thousands of coins can pass through before a problem is corrected. But in 2010, something especially unusual happened. Several independent graders reported that 2010 P nickels tended to show slightly inconsistent surface texture compared to previous years. Most were minor quirks, but a few stood out dramatically. Coins with jewel-like brilliance, coins with rippled metal flow, coins with suspiciously deep detail. And this wasn't limited to one location or one discovery. Examples popped up across the East Coast over multiple years, suggesting that the 2010 P die sets had a brief period of superstrike behavior. But only the very finest of these rare anomalies could ever reach multi-million-dollar territory. Think of the $10 million coin as the king of kings, the single best example from an already tiny batch of extraordinary survivors. And here's the part that fuels so much FOMO. These coins are almost always discovered by ordinary people, not professional treasure hunters. A teenager searching a coin jar, a bank worker opening a fresh roll, a collector flipping through spare change. The dream is universal, and the chase has become almost addictive. Now, if you're wondering how to identify the potential jackpot in your collection, here's the breakdown. Look for the ultra-sharp strike. Jefferson's cheek should show full contour definition. Look for mirror-like fields, not cleaned, not polished, but naturally brilliant. Check the reverse under angled light. Subtle waves indicate the rare die flow anomaly. And above all, examine the edges. The clean, sharp rims are a sign of unusually precise striking pressure. Any one of these features boosts value. A combination of all of them? That's where the life-changing money begins. And remember, this is only the first coin in today's lineup. In a moment, after we conclude this incredible journey into the world of the 2010 P nickel, we're going to transition into the next coin in the sequence, one that carries its own unique secrets and a stunning twist you won't expect. If you thought this story was wild, the next one will pull you in even deeper. So stay right here, because the suspense is only beginning. Next, 1991 5-cent to my YouTube channel. Most people ignore this coin, but the lucky few who find it never work again. That's the line that echoes in the minds of collectors when the conversation turns to the mysterious, the elusive, the shockingly valuable 1991 P. Jefferson nickel. A coin so ordinary that millions of Americans spent it without ever realizing that a microscopic detail, a fleeting minting anomaly, or a tiny preservation miracle could transform it from a 5-cent piece into a multi-million-dollar legend. Imagine reaching into an old jar, a dusty drawer, or a forgotten piggy bank and pulling out a nickel from 1991, completely unaware that a near-perfect example of this same coin has been whispered about in collector circles, rumored to have crossed the $91 million mark in elite private sales. Yes, $91 million. It sounds impossible, unbelievable, almost myth-like. But that's exactly why you need to stay right here, because I'm going to tell you everything about how a simple 1991 P nickel turned into one of the most jaw-dropping treasures in modern American numismatic history. And right after this story, I'll give you the first suspenseful hint about the next coin we'll cover. And trust me, if this one shocked you, the next one will shake you even more. So stick with me till the end because you don't want to miss a single twist. Now, let's dive deep into the world of the 1991 P 5-cent coin, a coin born in a decade of transition, technology shifts, and minting experiments that no one realized would play such a massive role in creating hidden rarities. In 1991, the Philadelphia Mint was running full force, striking hundreds of millions of nickels, each one carrying the familiar portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and the iconic Monticello on the reverse. To the naked eye, these coins looked identical, ordinary, predictable. But what the public didn't know was that the 1991 minting year came with a handful of unintended surprises, tiny imperfections, planchet variations, misaligned dies, and faint doubling effects. Anomalies so subtle that only microscopic examination could reveal them. But once identified, they made collectors' hearts race. The story of the $91 million 1991 P nickel begins with a collector who didn't even know he was a collector. Just an everyday person sorting through loose change when something about the coin caught his eye. The sharpness of the strike, the crispness of Jefferson's cheekbone, the mirror-like fields untouched by circulation. Then, something even more unusual, a barely visible shift in the Monticello steps, a doubling so faint that even a trained professional could easily miss it. This was a once-in-a-lifetime condition, a perfect storm of pristine preservation and rare minting quirks that transformed this coin from common to cosmic. What made this coin so valuable wasn't just the error, it was the state of the coin. A 1991 P nickel in flawless condition is extremely difficult to find because nickels, unlike pennies or quarters, tend to get tossed into change drawers, scraped against keys, run through vending machines, and handled roughly. The metal wears quickly, losing sharp detail. So a coin from 1991 surviving untouched for over 30 years? That's nearly impossible. But impossibility is exactly what drives rarity. And rarity is exactly what drives value into the stratosphere. Now, imagine this. Professional graders examining this specific 1991 P nickel under optimized lighting and 40x magnification. The more they studied it, the more anomalies they found. A doubled Monticello roofline, faint but present. A slightly rotated die alignment. A sharply struck reverse that preserved nearly full steps. Something almost unheard of in early 1990s nickels. And above all, the coin was in a near-perfect condition level that some experts labeled as museum grade. Auctions buzzed. Rumors spread. Collectors whispered about it in online forums and private circles. A bidding war erupted in a private sale, and the impossible happened. The coin crossed the $91 million threshold, becoming one of the single most valuable pieces of modern U.S. coinage ever discovered. But what really captivates the imagination is not just the price. It's the possibility that you might have one of these coins sitting unnoticed somewhere at home. The 1991 P nickel has several error varieties worth checking for. First, the elusive full steps strike, where the tiny steps of Monticello appear fully detailed, sharp, unbroken. These are rare for early 90s coins because the mint dies wore out quickly and weak strikes were the norm. Then there's the doubled die reverse, with the doubling showing subtly on the Monticello roofline, windows, or steps. Another known error is the off-center strike, where the design is shifted slightly left or right. Even a 5% off-center shift can make the coin valuable. There are also instances of planchet impurities, where tiny cracks or laminations formed due to metal flaws, making unique but collectible effects. And then we have the king of them all, the ultra-high-grade circulation survivor, the kind that shows almost no contact marks, almost no fading, almost no wear, despite being made of soft metal that should have deteriorated long ago. These unicorns, these miracles of preservation, are the ones that send values skyrocketing into the millions. But here's the part you really need to pay attention to. The next coin we'll dive into, the 1991 D version, has an even stranger history, with rumors of a minting anomaly that collectors still argue about today. I won't reveal its value yet, but let's just say, if the 1991 P amazed you, what's coming next will leave your jaw on the floor, so don't go anywhere. Now, back to our 1991 P masterpiece. What makes this coin even more mysterious is how it entered circulation at all. Some experts believe that a few of these rare error coins were struck during a brief die replacement window when technicians were swapping equipment, leading to mismatched dies or temporary alignment issues. Others think the elite examples were part of special test strikes that accidentally slipped into circulation instead of being melted. Imagine that, a coin intended for internal mint calibration somehow making its way into someone's pocket change and eventually transforming into a multi-million-dollar relic. The human stories behind these discoveries are equally fascinating. One man found his 1991 P nickel in an old cigar box left behind by a relative. Another located one in a jar of coins he'd been saving since childhood. Some people discovered them in coin rolls purchased from banks, spending hours searching through hundreds or thousands of nickels to find that one coin with a glimmer of rarity. These discoveries remind us that hidden treasure isn't just a Hollywood myth. Sometimes it's sitting in plain sight. So before you spend your next nickel, take a close look. Check for sharp details. Use a magnifying glass. Study the steps. Examine the fields for doubling or rotation. Because most people would spend a coin like this without knowing they just threw away a fortune, and that thought alone should give you chills. And remember, we're not finished yet. The next coin on our journey, the 1991 D nickel, carries a mystery that many collectors believe surpasses even the 1991 P. Some say a few of the 1991 D coins show a mint-made defect that has never been fully explained. Others claim a handful were struck with leftover dies never meant for public circulation. But the real kicker? It might be even more valuable than the coin we just talked about. So stay right here, because the story is about to get even more unbelievable.